Hey, on this wonderful new day, I want to bring to you 5 action steps from the book Happy Money by Ken Honda. If you remember, we did a tea time talk about this book a few weeks back, and we had a wonderful discussion about the different ways we could apply these wise words that were shared with us. And if you remember, I am all about taking action and really this transfer between the theory that we hear so much of in wonderful books and TED Talks and discussions, podcasts or motivational videos, but usually it stays on this theoretical level, and it's rather hard actually to transfer this into habits, into practices in everyday life. So we are doing these tea time talks together to actually facilitate this transition and give each other feedback and ideas of how to apply these wise words. So let's jump right in. The first one is gratitude for what we have today. This is a big one which is mentioned in so many different books and areas of teaching, I would say. But Ken actually brought the point home with the interviews he made with so many rich people, whatever rich means, but this is exactly the question that he asked to them, and what wanted to know at what stage in their career or personal financial development they actually perceived themselves as wealthy and rich. And he discovered that they didn't, because they always were oriented to the next level and thought, oh, but this guy has a plane that is 3 times as big as mine, and this guy has another house in that area, and this guy has 10 cars more than I do. You know what I mean? It's just like it's always a question of how you orient yourself, and it's so common in human psychology to think more is always better and we have never enough. So it's really a question of consciousness to be aware of what you have today and already be grateful, even if you're on the way to actually create more wealth for yourself. Let's jump into the next action step, which is arigato in and arigato out. This is a wonderful principle where he talks about the flow of money, that it's not just about being happy when something comes in and sad or even upset when something goes out. No, it's about appreciating the flow and the transition, because if you see money as energy, as he teaches in his emotional intelligence around money, then you see that the bigger the flow, the bigger your money container, right? So if you will be more wealthy, you have to be prepared also to spend more, because usually with a bigger money container, much more comes in, but much more goes out as well. So you might as well start today to appreciate both sides of this flow container. And there it's important to sometimes trick ourselves. So if we see that we have negative energy around paying a bill, to really maybe think about what actually the service is provided. So in our discussion, we had a nice example of the insurance guy, right? Because insurance sometimes is something not so tangible. You feel like they're not doing anything if I don't have an accident or something. So I'm just paying them money. So it's really a thing of framing it differently and maybe thinking of his family or her family and how they go on holiday or have good education provided to them. Or you can have the example we talked about where, I don't know, the landlord makes you pay a reparation of a household item that you think it wasn't your only use that actually broke it, but you can say, but this person actually made a really good job fixing it, and now I appreciate having a good functional washing machine again. So you can always reframe the thing that you're paying and change the energy around it, which helps you have positive energy around your money flow. Okay, we are coming to the third action step, which is to identify and release your money wounds. And this is a real big part, because usually we have some formatting done by our parents on how we perceive money and how, like, some negative and limiting beliefs around money. And it's better not to be angry with them, because usually it's actually their parents who formatted them and generations before us. So it's all about more about how to break this generational flow and actually change the concept and beliefs that we want to give to our children. Therein goes also the aspect of what money type we are, and because often can identify that many couples actually argue around money because they are different money types. So go and check out the money types again. We have the saver, the spender, the compulsive money maker, the money indifferent type, we have the warrior, we have the gambler, and we have the saver splurger. So check out the definitions again and see that you don't have unnecessary discussions with your loved ones just because you're different money types. It's lost energy anyway. So let's move into the next step, the next action step, which is trusting. And trusting is such a nice thing to actually practice, because all of us have good people around us, I believe, that actually are happy to help us. So we might as well cultivate this trust that we think if anything happens, if we lose all our money or have something horrible to suffer through in our family, there will be people who actually reach out and help us. And Ken actually puts this way, that he has 52 friends where he could spend 1 week of shelter, and he could repeat for several years, because it would just be 1 week with every friend once a year. So he would be very safe for quite some while to rebuild his situation if at any point he needs to fall back on this. And he also made the example of this country where people were actually the most happy, and then he found out it was more about having this trust that the king or their loved ones would actually take care of them if something happened. So it was more of this general sense of security that they cultivated, and which made them very calm and composed, which is a beautiful example of a culture. And then we come to the fifth action step, which is providing value. And he puts it so nicely, where he had decided to retire to take time for his child, which so he was actually the primary carer for his daughter, which makes another very nice point, because he actually values this time with his daughter so much that he actually retired and took so much free time, which is also energy and also money in a sense, because he values this time so much that he doesn't need to work in that moment, or maybe even cuts back on some expenses to make this possible. And this is also a money transaction. If you think that money is energy, then everything comes together. And he actually found out what the world needed from him when he started to write and put some leaflets out there that was such a huge success that everyone wanted it, and he started to write books. So it was very interesting that this actually gives an example also from a teaching that we most of us know from Stuart Ross, when you identify the niche you want to serve, because it's not choosing a niche, it's finding a niche. And this is exactly the nuance where you start to provide value and see if it resonates, and then you adapt it to what people actually need. And in that way, you actually go deeper and define the niche that you are meant to serve, because there is what people actually ask from you and what they actually need. So a little bonus at the end from one of the interviews Ken gave. He mentioned a very beautiful saying that he says when he pays bills, which is, "Money goddess, go out, spread happiness and love, and come back with your friends," which I think is a wonderful little prayer or mantra, however you want to call it, to actually send off your money with good energy and produce happy money for you and everyone around you. Have a wonderful time and hopefully see you on the next Tea Time Talk. Bye bye.